Alright, our next step is to take the data that we've scraped in all of our Excel spreadsheet files, and we're going to put them all together, format them, and turn them into a usable territory. So what I usually do is you'll see the XLS. These are the catch files that we've gotten through our program. What I'll usually do is I'll just open all of them up at the same time and then combine them. So I've already combined them into Lavaca County territory. So we're using a little bit different territory. This is a different one I've already done. But you can see I've got Hallettsville, 1, Moulton, Shiner, and Yoakum. So when you add them in, I'm going to show you how to take a territory and then we're going to add it in. So what we'll do is we'll open up Hallettsville 2, which I haven't added yet, and we see what it looks like. Now, Excel makes it really easy. All you have to do is just take collection 1, drop it down with the left drag, drop it in, and, well, drop it down here at the bottom, and it adds in the collection. And so then we rename that. I'm going to make this Hallettsville 2, and then you can even drag and drop it into the right place that you want it. Alright, and so the first thing is when you get all of yours put together, so we have all of our cities here for Lavaca County territory, what we're going to do is we're going to save it. Now when you first save yours, it's going to be XLS, so we want to save it as an XLSX, which is going to be a Excel workbook. So now the old ones, we can go ahead and just close those out, and then you've got your main file saved. So now what we're going to do is we're going to format these. So now that we've got them opened, combined, renamed, and saved, now we're going to rearrange the street addresses. You can see here that we've got a couple extra files that or a couple extra rows we don't need. The street, I'd like the number and the street to be separated just in case you put it in a database. Then you can search by street and search by number separately. So this is what we want it to look like. You've got a ID column, which I didn't put that in there, ID number, and then you've got your house, your street, your city, your name, the age, the phone number, who contacted them originally, the publisher that is calling on this person so you don't get double calling, and then a list for do not calls. Now this is, you see how far it's gone over, then there's a space and we've got some extra information over here, and I'll show you that as we go. So we'll start out with Hallettsville 2. What we're going to do is first of all get rid of a couple of these rows. So we'll leave the R, but the P, collection time, and source URL we don't need, so we can just shift, select, and then delete those, get rid of those. We want to take the name and we want to move it down over past the phone and by the age. And so what we're going to do is when the little hand comes up on the side right here, you hit shift, you left click, and you drag until you get it where you want it, you drop it, and there you go. Alright, the phone 2 we don't need either, so we can go ahead and we can just leave that like it is, just delete it. Alright, and so now what we want to do is we want to take the street and we want to split it. So we're going to move it over to, and so we're going to do our shift, drag, and move, and we'll just keep it over here, and we can always move it back later if we need to. And so what we do now is we want to split this. So you click at the top so that the whole column is selected. Now we're going to go to Data. We're going to go to Text to Columns. Make sure it's on Delimited. Hit Next. Make sure the check is in space. And hit Next. And hit Finish. And yes, we want to replace the columns. So now you see how it's split. We've got J, K, L, M, N, and I don't know if any's in, yeah, we've got some in P too. So it's usually 5 rows that it splits it up into. So now we want to rename this one. Didn't want to do that. Get this back up here to the top. We're going to rename this house, and we're going to select that column. We're going to move it back, so shift and drag back again. So now we got our house. Now we need a column for streets. So what we're going to do is we're going to click up the top on C, right click and do insert. At insert's a row. And now what we want to do is we want all of these street names over here to combine, all 5 rows, to make one row over here with the correct address. So we're going to use a little formula. And this little formula we've already got done on this one. So if you can see, it's equals, which is a formula, and then the $ is a reference to the cell. So we do L2, M2. We'll just copy this thing so you can see what we're doing here. So we'll just select, copy, hit return so it doesn't mess up this page. Go back over here, click in the first cell, and hit Command V or Control V to paste that in. Actually, that's not what we wanted. Let's do that up here. That's better. Alright, and so hit, let's see, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 cells. So it's already selected what we want, L through P, and hit return. And so now you've got the first one. Now we need to fill it in all the rest of them. Now if you look at this, what this is doing, this is the equals is a formula. The $ is an absolute reference, or relative reference rather, and then it's taking L2, M2, N2, O2, and P2. So that's these columns over here with this level, which is column or row 2, and then it's adding in these 2 parentheses, which is a space, so it separates them. So you've got Duval space, street space, and then the next couple of rows. So we want to take the same deal, so we're going to copy it, and then we're going to click in row 3, drag all the way to the bottom. We get to the bottom, and we're going to shift click at the bottom and Command V or Control V, and if you notice, we've got all of our streets in. And as you scroll up, you can see how it's added in everything. And what we can do is we can, since this whole row is, we can select this row and go up to Format, Row, and our Format Column, Auto Fit, and that widens it out. So then we can actually see better what we've got over here. That gives it all the space that it needs to be able to be seen. All right. So now we've got our street names all back up and running. We're going to put street, and then we'll rename this one city. And then we've got our, let's take our name and move it over. So now we've got name, phone. Nah, I don't like that. Let's put that back. Because I believe that's the way I had it for the other one. Name, age, phone. Let's see. So we had the age before the phone, so we can move that over too. Name, age, phone. Yeah, I'll get it one day. There we go. That's better. All right. So now what we want to do is we want another column over here. So we're going to insert the column, and we're going to make this the ID number column. ID number. And so to get that, we want it to start on this one. This is cell 1, so we don't want to use number 1. We want to use 1 on number 2 and have it numbered down, so that way whenever you have to change something to update, you know what number you need to go to. So we have a nice little formula for that too. Equals row and $A1. So we'll just highlight that, copy it, hit return, and go back over to our other page and go back up here and paste, return. So now we've got a number 1. Same thing. Copy, start with this one, and go all the way to the bottom. And shift, paste. So see, it's one number off all the way down. But these are all ID numbers so that we can keep track of the information as we go back and update it. Also, if you turn this into a database, you'll need that ID number in order to bring it over into a database for it to reference correctly. So now we're going to change this up a little bit. We're going to go to Home. We're going to make this a center, and then we're going to make this bold so that all the numbers are bold so we can see those real easy. Now what we want to do is we want to format this so it fits on a page. So we're going to click this little arrow up here at the top. That selects everything. We're going to select 8 as our font size, so that shrinks everything up. Now we're going to go up to Format, Column again, and Auto Fit Selection. So that shrinks everything up. Now we're going to go to Layout. We want our orientation to be landscape. That way it gives us a wide page with more room for writing. And the size, of course, is US letter 8.5 by 11. Alright, so now we have everything selected. Our house, we're going to lay that one out again on center, so that spaces out the streets. And then the name we want center, so that spaces that out as well. So now let's go over here and add a little bit more information. We're going to do a contacted, so we can write in who talked to the person, or actually the date of when they were contacted, when they were called or written to. We're going to write publisher, so we can see who has that call, who wrote to them or talked to them, and then a do not call column. So that way if they say do not call back, then we will know not to do that. Alright, so then we're going to have to resize these to make them fit, because this little dotted line right here is the size of our page. And if we go over that, it's not going to print. So we're going to have to shrink these. We go up to the top of the column and you shrink them a little bit. And now you've got, you can see how that page moves back and forth when that column is just a little bit too long. So now we have all of those. So now when we print, this is the finished page. When we print, this is how it's going to divide. And so when you print it, you can print with a little border and put it in a binder, and so you've got full sheets. In the next one I'll show you how to print it off to make it look all pretty, and then we'll go from there.